إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل كما قال الله سبحانه وتعالى بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. My brothers and sisters, I want to begin by congratulating the entire congregation, for it is rare that you come to a masjid as a khatib and you see that it is packed all the way to the back with people waiting for the khutbah to begin. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow the angels to write the names of every single person that came early for Salatul Jum'ah, to have their names recorded and to be presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the people who prefer and who put forward the deen above everything and anything else in their lives. Ameen. Secondly, my brothers and sisters, we see that there are a lot of youth with us. And that's because of the summer, which means as much as we're enjoying the heat and the beautiful weather, the days are getting shorter, and that's an indication that winter is coming soon. And so I don't want to bust the bubble of happiness, but just as quick as winter comes, death comes to us as well. And today's topic, I want to focus on how we may enjoy life and live it to its fullest, not expecting that we will leave this world. And then when we least expect it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes our life away. And that is seen in many examples. We could be here all day and all night, but alhamdulillah, your masjid listens to you and they understand your situation and they've made it crystal clear that the khutbah and the salah needs to be done by 1:45. And so we can't be here giving example after example, which is good because we will suffice with only two. We will take two examples from hadith, from the life of the Prophet ﷺ, that will highlight an important message for every single one of us in one of the best ways, or one of the most important things that we should be doing and implementing in our lives from now. And that is to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in everything that we do. In the beauty and the enjoyment and the pleasures of the summer, as well as the beautiful snow and the enjoyment of the winter sports, and every single moment and time of ease and hardship in life. My brothers and sisters, a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he mentions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring a person from this ummah as an example for all of us on the Day of Judgment. And that person will be brought before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will have their scrolls, as in their books of deeds, put in front of them, these scrolls. And there will be 99 scrolls. You know what a scroll is? We know how to scroll on our phones, right? On the screen of our phone. But traditionally, a scroll is a long, long, long piece of paper that is rolled up. And it is rolled and rolled and rolled, and you just pull from it and you read, and then you wrap it up a little more and you pull some more. It's basically like scrolling on our phones. Imagine you scrolled on your phone from here all the way until the horizon. until as far as your eyes can see. And then you took another phone and you scrolled as much as you could see until the end of the horizon. And you did that 99 times. On the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring someone who has 99 scrolls. Each one of them will be laid out before them and will go as far as the eye can see. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will question this person. A few questions will be thrown his way. Firstly, he will be asked, do you deny any of this? And those scrolls are filled with nothing but sin. One sin after the other. And we're not talking about good deeds here. We're talking about bad deeds, sins. As far as your eye can see, 99 scrolls of nothing but sin upon sin upon sin that was done in the life of this person. And they will be asked, do you deny any of this? And the person will say no. And then they will be asked, have those who recorded this wronged you in any way? As in, has anything that has been written down, is anything incorrect? Is there anything that is wrong? Have they taken justice away from you? And that person will say, no. So basically, this person, if they were standing in the court of law, they just admitted to be guilty of all of the charges against them. This person just admitted to all of those statements, all of those sins, to be true and completely and entirely accurate. And then they will be asked, do you have any excuse? And that person will respond to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, no. No excuses. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lets them know that you have one good deed, and on this day you will not be wronged as well. You have one good deed, and on this day you will not be wronged as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will order for that good deed to come forth. And the angels will bring a card, a bitaqa, just like a business card that has your name written on it and the place that you work and your profession and so on. A card, and on this card is written, La ilaha illallah. And this person will see the card and will think to themselves, yeah, how is this going to outweigh the 99 scrolls? And logically, any one of us who thinks of it will think of it the exact same way. There is no way that this one card can be heavier than these 99 scrolls. So don't embarrass me, let's just cut to the chase. And then the person will say, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, my mistake. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then says in the hadith that on that day, the scrolls will be light on the scale, and the card will be heavy on the scale, and nothing is heavier than the name of Allah. Nothing is heavier than the name of Allah. Now, why am I mentioning this hadith, my brothers and sisters? I want to ask you one question. After hearing this hadith and trying to tie it in with ourselves and our life, who am I? What type of person am I? Am I the type of person who has more sins than good deeds? Am I the type of person who focuses more on khayr, focuses more on barakah, focuses more on submission to Allah, ibadah, in its truest and purest forms? Or am I someone whose priority is, how am I going to make the next dollar? How am I going to get my children into university? How am I going to go on vacation? How am I going to get out of the parking lot quickly because this khutbah seems like it's going to take too long? Right? Many of us, our minds are thinking somewhere else. We are not thinking of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the one question that I want to ask every single one of us, myself included, before we end this first half of the khutbah is, do you have Allah with you? That card had La ilaha illallah written on it. And it's not just the writing of La ilaha illallah, that there is no true God worthy of worship except Allah. It's not just a writing and a statement pasted on there or printed on there, because any one of us can go and print the biggest La ilaha illallah, put it on our roof. We can have shingles put on our roof and go and paint La ilaha illallah. You'll see people with their cars, and on the back of their car in the rear view mirror or the rear window, they have La ilaha illallah. You have masajid that will write on the walls La ilaha illallah. But if we don't live by La ilaha illallah, then that card is not going to be heavy. So my question to every single one of us, my brothers and sisters, do we have Allah with us? How are we going to live this summer? Are we going to spend this summer with La ilaha illallah? You know, we were driving to the masjid, just not too far away, and there was someone in front of us that did something weird with their car. And I made a comment about it. I said, this is the type of person who causes accidents. Right? The way that this person was driving, they were in front of me and they hesitated, went, slammed on their brakes. I was like, this is the type of person who causes accidents. And my daughter, she was sitting in the back seat, and she's like, what do you mean? Like, what are you saying? What does that mean? And so I explained to her that, this person, the way they're driving, this is the type of driver that causes accidents. And then the driver pulls a U-turn, and my daughter says, oh, the other daughter, she says, oh, it's a Muslim sister, she's wearing hijab. Now, as Muslims, we have this banner of La ilaha illallah that is hovering upon us everywhere we go. But the question is, when people see us on the outside, they say, oh, Muslim. But what does that link to? Does that link to good actions? Does the person say, oh, that's how the Muslims are? Or does the person say, look at the Muslim, look at how respectful they are, look at how much honor they give to others, whether Muslim or not, look at how much food they feed to the people, whether Muslim or not, look at how much respect they give to their elderly, whether the person is Muslim or not. That is the important lesson for us, my brothers and sisters, to live by La ilaha illallah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين وأصلي وأسلم على نبيه الكريم عليه أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم أما بعد. My brothers and sisters, a person may live this entire life as a non-believer. And I'll give you an example of someone who we know who is dear to us that passed away just last Sunday. For 71 years, this person lived as a non-believer. Was born into a family that raised them upon Christianity. They lived their entire life battling with Islam, learning about Muslims from the television, having a relative who is Muslim, and relatives, nieces and nephews and relatives that are Muslim, but that person in particular was born into a family that raised them non-Muslim. And for all those years, they lived with this hatred in their hearts towards people who are Muslim because of what is seen on the TV and the news and so on. And then in the last stages of a person's life, when they've been diagnosed with an illness, and this particular person diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and within a few months, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on last Sunday took their life away. Now I'm telling you this story very briefly because of time, because just before the person lost consciousness, just before this person's illness took over the control of their body, that person took the Shahada and embraced Islam and accepted that there is only one true God to be worshipped and to call upon. And I was actually there in the hospital room with my family. And this is my wife's uncle, her mother's brother, who was saying, the Christians, they believe in God, but they have 3. And the Hindus, and he was explaining, and the Jewish, and he was explaining, and the Christians, he was going on like that. And he says, but the Muslims, they have one God. And he's like, I believe that there is only one God, that we have to follow that one God and call upon that one God. And there's only one. And when you're in need, you call upon God. And that was really interesting to hear, coming from someone who lived their entire life feeling these negative feelings towards Islam. And so my brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, and this is the second hadith, I mentioned to you it would only take 2 hadith. The Prophet ﷺ says, as Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu tells us, من كان آخر كلامه لا إله إلا الله دخل الجنة. Whoever's last words, their last statements are La ilaha illallah, that person is a person who enters into paradise. Now the question is, my brothers and sisters, how will we live our lives? Because many of us, if not the majority, maybe even every single one of us, with exception to possibly a handful of people that are sitting with us here in this masjid, were born and raised into families that raised them upon Islam. So we don't know the feeling of having a relative or having direct relatives who are not Muslim. But as time progresses, many of us will have children, and our children will marry into people in this country who were born into non-Muslim families or raised as non-Muslims but embraced Islam. And so our children will deal with this. Some of us are I'm dealing with it. My mother accepted Islam. My wife's mother accepted Islam. I'm sure many of you here, some of you, maybe your spouse accepted Islam. Some of you here, your children accepted Islam. I know a brother who lives in our community. He accepted Islam 12 years ago. He has 2 sons, 2 daughters, and a wife. His wife up until today did not accept Islam. His 2 daughters up until today did not accept Islam. So in his house, out of the 6 people, him and his 2 sons are Muslim. And his wife and his 2 daughters are not Muslim. This is a reality of the time that we live in. And so my brothers and sisters, it's not just a meaning of saying La ilaha illallah. How are we living according to Islam? And I'll give you the example of that brother. I was asking him the other day, how is it that your sons embraced Islam and your daughters didn't? He said, I never pushed Islam upon my family at all. All I did was continue to be a Muslim. And one by one, my children started to accept Islam. And he says, I hope that my daughters and my wife will follow through very soon as well. That is the way that we need to live, my brothers and sisters. To show Islam to one another. And our children need to know it as well. They are looking at us as role models. They walk around with sports jerseys on and they take other people as role models. I'm not debating that topic here. But what I am saying is, who are the role models of our children? Are they the people who make millions of dollars who don't even care about who we are? Are they the people who, us as adults, are at work and are watching on the news and following through on our phones and through the news feeds? A plane landed. SUVs are coming from the airport going downtown for a beautiful meeting to have, shawarmas from a restaurant so that they can discuss this NBA player's next move. Which contract is he going to sign? Those are the role models that our children have. Those are the people that we are feeding to them. Or are the people that we are showing them as role models sitting here with us? We need to be the role models of our children. We need to raise them as best as we possibly can. And we need to be the people that open our hearts and minds to teaching this deen to others by firstly understanding who is Allah. And that topic is for another day because our time is done. We conclude by sending peace and blessings upon the Prophet ﷺ, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His angels do, as mentioned in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا صَلُّوا عَلَيْهِ وَسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from every single one of us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us Islam and Iman in the depths of our hearts. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and protect our children and their progeny. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us exemplary role models of who exactly the Prophet ﷺ truly was. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a deeper understanding of Him, a deeper understanding of His deen, a deeper understanding of the best way to live this life in this world and how to attain and achieve the highest levels in paradise. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.